What's a dark secret questionable practice in your profession which we regular folks would know nothing about? You know the people who write instruction manuals or user guides and things you buy? Half the time, they've never even seen or touched the product. Some dude just sends us pictures, a rough description of how it's supposed to work, and that's it. ETA, wow, this took off. To all the IT dudes of Reddit. I actually browse the brand-specific subreddits to figure out what to add to my user guides because that's how little info my company provides me. Thanks for making my life easier. Young kids talk to their teachers, coaches, counselors, principals about their parents. A lot. And kids pick up on all the dirty little secrets. 6 years old, I have 2 daddies. Me, that's lovely, darling. Now let's play some piano. 6 years old, one of my daddies goes on long business trips and then mummy and I go live with my other daddy while he's gone. Me, oh. Let's play some piano. Many hotels often sell rooms multiple times. Used to work in airport hotel. Knowing that chances are some guests won't arrive due to missed or delayed flights, so we sell more rooms that we have. You have guests checking out from 2-3 a.m. due to early flights, so even though the room is technically still theirs, you quickly and sometimes poorly clean the room and tell the arriving unexpected guest or new booking there's a random computer issue, and to wait 20 minutes, and then check them into the departed guest's room praying. Multiple times I've had to run a kettle under a cold tap to hide the fact the previous guest used it 15 minutes before the new guest arrives. Airlines do this shit with airplane seats too. I once had a connecting flight while heading back to college which was, luckily, not a long flight and I had plenty of time. They pulled this crap and initially wanted someone to forego their seat for a $50 coupon. I let it go up to a $250 direct check and then volunteered, and they still tried to go with credit toward a ticket. I only took the check and got paid that amount for a couple hours watching Netflix in the airport. Many bills are literally written by lobbyists or special interest organizations. I have seen my boss give bill language to a state legislator, and then found the same language in print a few days later several times. The bill may change in committee, but usually not drastically against the original intent. Sometime we learn something the day before we teach it to you. Whoa, this really hit a chord with people. Lots of shared experiences. It's great. As a tutor. Yup. Sometimes I will rapidly learn something during the lesson when my student brings me a topic I haven't seen before. Works 80% of the time. Sometimes librarians read the new books before registering them in the catalog for the public. 1. Evil laughter asterisk. Edit wow. I did not expect to get so many upvotes and comments for something I wrote randomly at lunch. But very much appreciated. Thank you, and thank you for the awards. That's the most adorable, evil thing. Air traffic control, cue the Breaking Bad jokes. A diagnosis of virtually any mental illness, and a diagnosis of many physical conditions, is disqualifying and will end your career. For that reason, people avoid doctors like the plague. Pilots too. Yep, my dad is a pilot, and could have really benefited from therapy and possibly mild antidepressants in recent years. His anxiety was through the roof to the point where his sleep suffered. His main reason for not seeking professional help was that he was afraid his license would be revoked. It sucks. Customs broker here. Every day hundreds of thousands of containers and air shipments arrive into United States territory. The volume of customs entries entered every day is staggering. When we get licensed to be a customs broker, we are trained and tested not just on knowledge, but ethics. We even take a pledge to partner with CBP to uphold the law, and cooperate with them should we come across anything suspicious. Why so much emphasis on this? Customs can't actually screen everything coming in. I'm oversimplifying, but CBP basically works on the honor system. You file an entry saying what the shipment is, and they just take your word for it and release it. This happens hundreds of thousands of times a day. Maybe at best customs can screen 3 to 7% of what's coming in, the rest of just wave through. Former British customs officer here can confirm. The amount of international trade is staggering and no government is able to do a 100% inspection on all the freight that arrives. So we rely on past history, shady customs brokers included LOL, Intel, etc. to target our efforts. And no, I'm not going to divulge anything more, so don't bother asking. So, yeah, smuggling happens, whether that's goods, drugs, or people. But when we do find something, expect the world to drop on your head. Government wants its revenue, boys and girls, and it doesn't like being cheated of them, or finding 30+ dead people in a shipping container. At all. Have you ever started filling out a form for a quote on something, insurance website, or literally anything, and then changed your mind and said, "Nah, I don't want to give them my personal information," and then abandoned the form before pressing submit? If you think that stopped them from getting your personal information, it didn't. Most companies looking to capture leads will capture your info in real time as you enter it into a form. The submit button is just there to move you to the next step, not to actually send your information to the company. I ended up quitting a career because people, all genders and ages, kept trying to solicite me for prostitution. Young male massage therapist. Edit. Whoa. Thanks for the upvotes. I'm sure most know this, but 99.9% of advertisements involving real people is acted and scripted. Even when the people being interviewed are indeed non-actors, they are prompted on what to say. For example, recently we interviewed a guy who won a car from one of our brands. First round. Interviewer: congrats on your win. How do you feel? Guy: really great. It's a real surprise, to be honest. Thank you. After several rounds and coaching. Interviewer: congrats on your win. How do you feel? Guy: I feel so lucky to have won a brand car. The design and handling is first rate, and I'm most impressed by the fuel consumption. I will definitely keep on holding brand as my top car of choice. There is at least one water bottle, soda can, energy drink, spray paint can sitting on a piece of blocking behind your drywall somewhere in your house. Edit. Wow, this took off. Thank you for your plentiful updates. This is my first comment to break 1,000. As a former carpenter's apprentice and construction worker, I know for a fact I have left beverage containers of all forms in both concrete and in framing. At a very large pizza chain restaurant that remains widely popular, we had these perforated pans for thin crust and stuffed crust pizzas. They'd get washed in the dishwasher by the hundreds per day, and at least half would still have burnt cheese and shit on them. Well, they were just stacked to dry. When making new pizzas in those pans, sometimes the pans that were left to dry overnight grew bits of mold around the burnt cheese. We were told just to put the dough on top because otherwise we'd never keep up with the orders if we rewashed everything. The manager said, "Don't worry, it gets cooked. You can buy stamps from your mailbox. Just leave a note and money and stamps will be there the next day." IT. Outages occur, sure, bugs happen too. Most of the time these things are known and are put off until they happen or are complained about. There is a problem in substance abuse treatment in the United States called body brokering. Substance abuse treatment can be very expensive, and insurance companies pay a lot of money for a patient to be there. Treatment centers will hire body brokers to find addicts with the best, highest paying insurance and entice them to check into the specific center. The treatment center then gives the broker a commission from the insurance money. This can go as far as body brokers literally putting more drugs into the hands of some addicts before they come in. BC, the higher level of drugs in your system upon admit, the more and longer the insurance company will pay to the treatment center. Brokers will also hire other addicts in a pyramid scheme type way to check into the treatment center, make friends with the other patients, and upon discharge encourage relapse so they come back to treatment. A lot of the time the engineer you talk to about your project, and decide to trust with it, delegates it to cheaper contractors as soon as you sign the paperwork. Their job is new business. I work on a popular teen TV show. All the lead actors do cocaine regularly, and they often come to set high or show up to set late because they chose to party on a Monday night. Scuba instructor. We preach how important safety is to our students. When we dive for fun and without paying customers until we get up to some very questionable shit. This is essentially the way almost every dangerous field is, I feel like. I'm the professional. I've been doing this for years. I've accepted all the risks and know exactly how and why this stupid thing I'm doing could kill me. Do not be like me. University professor. We don't actually read your entire answer. Most of us don't. Edit. It depends on a lot of factors and not everyone does it. I remember when I was a little kid I had this teacher who was a hard ass for no reason. At that age, I hadn't yet become a brain-dead idiot and was actually pretty smart academically, so I finished a test before everyone else. When I got up to turn it in, she skimmed over it and told me it needed more work and to sit back down. I just erased and then rewrote exactly what I had written before, so I looked like I made changes, and then turned it in several minutes later. I still remember her exact words. "Now this is much better." I work at a theme park and we use codes with number for situation that could happen in the park to not create panic. We also use codes for some category of people. Like a code 25 means there's a fire. Code 20 is for mentally disabled people. We also use hand signals sometimes for some situations. Former retail pharmacy technician. I received many forged prescriptions for strong narcotics for otherwise seemingly young, healthy patients. In hindsight, it's really sad, because I'm witnessing the opioid crisis unfold before my eyes. But the pharmacist has full discretion to pretend we don't have the drug in stock, turn people away, or straight up call the cops. We will literally put on our acting game and keep these people at the pharmacy until the cops arrive. What's a dark secret practice in your profession we don't know about? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.